The rain fell like quiet tears on the day Liam buried his father. The world seemed to pause, heavy with unspoken words and unfinished goodbyes. Elias had always been a man of few promises, but endless effort. A man who gave more than he ever said. As the old priest's voice faded into the wind, Liam's gaze fell on a small box placed beside the casket. Inside it lay a single worn coin, tarnished, ordinary, and cold. That was all his father left him. He stared at it, disbelief tightening his chest. Was this it? A coin for a lifetime of love? The thought cut deeper than the rain. Somewhere inside, anger mingled with sorrow. Did his father really believe this was enough? And yet, something about the weight of that coin felt different, heavier than metal. Have you ever lost everything just to find out what truly mattered? Would you still love someone who left you with nothing but a mystery? As the thunder rolled in the distance, Liam clenched the coin in his palm. The faintest engraving caught the dim light, but before he could see it clearly, lightning flashed, and the moment was gone. The wind whispered through the trees, as if carrying Elias's voice across the earth. One day, my son, you'll understand. That night, the house felt emptier than ever. The scent of his father's tools still lingered in the air, mixed with wood dust and oil. Liam sat by the window, staring at the coin under lamplight. The engraving looked almost alive, like it wanted to speak. He turned it over again and again, trying to find meaning. But all he saw was metal and silence. In that silence, he remembered how his father once said, "One day you'll see why I kept so little." Liam thought it was about poverty. He was wrong. Morning came quietly. The mountains outside shimmered with dew. Liam packed his bag, sliding the coin inside his pocket. He didn't know why, but something in him couldn't leave it behind. As he looked around the cabin one last time, every object spoke of his father. Calloused hands, laughter and silence, love without words. He whispered a shaky goodbye and stepped into the cold dawn. The road leaving the mountain was long and winding. As Liam walked, every step echoed between the cliffs. The world below awaited him. A place of ambition and noise. He didn't look back, though part of him wanted to. Somewhere in his chest, the coin's weight grew heavier, as if it carried something unfinished. At the first turn, Liam paused. He took out the coin once more and stared at it. His reflection shimmered faintly on its surface. "You gave me so little, Father," he murmured. "But maybe it's not the coin that matters." He didn't understand yet. But deep down, something whispered that the story wasn't over. And somewhere beyond the hills, the truth waited. The city was louder than Liam had imagined. Its streets buzzed with the hum of ambition, wheels, and weary footsteps. He arrived with nothing but a backpack, a few coins and his father's old one, always kept in his pocket, though he told himself it meant nothing. Weeks turned into months. He worked odd jobs, sweeping floors, delivering boxes, counting tips that barely fed him. Every night he'd reach into his pocket and feel the coin's edge. Somehow, it grounded him. Maybe it was guilt. Maybe it was love disguised as pain. He often wondered what his father would say if he saw him now, lost, tired, chasing something that kept running away. Yet even in struggle, something inside refused to quit. That coin was still with him, and though he didn't know why, he couldn't let it go. Years rolled by and the world hardened around him. Liam learned to fight for every meal, every moment. He worked in a factory now, hands callous like his father's once were. Some nights, when exhaustion silenced the noise of the machines, he'd open his palm and see that same coin, its metal dulled, its weight unchanged. He thought of the mountain air, of his father's quiet smile. A life once too simple now felt like a memory worth everything. He didn't realize it yet, but the lessons Elias had lived were already shaping him. One evening, he found an old envelope tucked inside his father's jacket, which he had kept all these years. Inside it was a faded map drawn by hand. Familiar mountains, a trail, and a single circle marked near a stream. Beneath it, Elias's handwriting read, "Where the first stone met the last." Liam's heart pounded. He didn't understand it, but something told him the coin was part of it. That night, under the city's glow, a decision began to form. Maybe the answer he sought wasn't in success. It was back where everything began. The city no longer felt like home. The more he earned, the emptier it felt. The noise, the lights, the endless chase, it all blurred together until one night he found himself standing by the river, the same coin pressed between his fingers. The moonlight touched its surface, revealing the faint outline of that same mountain from his father's drawing. It wasn't just decoration. It was direction. Maybe Elias hadn't left him a fortune, but a path. And for the first time in years, Liam felt something familiar. Hope. By morning, he had made his choice. He sold what little he owned, packed a small bag, and bought a one-way ticket back to his hometown. As the train pulled away, Liam sat by the window, holding the coin tightly. He wasn't the same boy who had left with bitterness in his heart. Now, every scar and failure had shaped him into someone ready to listen. To his father, to the past, and to the silence that once hurt him most. The journey home wasn't about returning. It was about understanding. When Liam returned to the mountain town, it felt smaller, quieter than he remembered. The wind still carried the same whisper through the pines. He walked the old path toward the cabin, now worn and covered in moss. Dust floated through the light, pouring from broken shutters. Everything felt frozen in time except him. On the wooden table lay the coin, exactly where he'd left it years ago. He picked it up, brushing away the dust. The engraving had changed somehow. He tilted it in the sunlight and saw something new. Faint lettering beneath the mountain symbol. Words that had never been there before. "Find what I found, and you'll know why I gave you nothing." His breath caught. For the first time, the coin spoke. He spent hours turning the coin in his hand, testing its edges, its weight, its sound against the wood. How could new letters appear after all this time? He lit the old oil lamp, the same one his father had used, and as the warmth touched the coin, the engraving shimmered again, clearer this time. The words seemed to breathe under the flame. Liam realized the heat revealed what was once hidden. His father must have known this would happen. It wasn't an accident. It was a message that waited for the right moment, and the right heart to see it. By dawn, he couldn't rest. The message wouldn't leave his mind. He took the coin and the map and followed the old trail behind the cabin. The air smelled of pine and memory. Every step reminded him of his father's quiet footsteps from long ago. The path led him to a stream, the one from the map. There, stones formed a pattern, half buried under time. "Where the first stone met the last," he whispered. He knelt, running his hands through the cold water, feeling for something hidden beneath. Then his fingers touched metal. He pulled out a small rusted box, sealed and heavy. The lock had long corroded. With trembling hands, he used a rock to pry it open. Inside lay a folded cloth, and within it, another coin. Identical, except for one thing. This one bore his father's initials. Beneath it was a short letter, written in the same rough handwriting as before. "I made two. One for me, one for you. If you find mine, you'll know the worth of yours." Liam's throat tightened. His father hadn't left him a coin to spend. He had left him a memory to discover. He turned the new coin over and saw an engraving. "Worth isn't given, it's learned." A tear rolled down his cheek. All the years he'd spent chasing something to prove his father wrong, when all along Elias had been guiding him toward understanding. Liam held both coins together, feeling their combined weight. It was heavier than gold. It was love, patience, and sacrifice shaped into metal. He looked toward the mountains, realizing this was only the beginning. of what his father had left him to find. Liam traveled into town the next morning, the 2 coins wrapped carefully in his father's cloth. He asked around until someone mentioned an antique shop on the edge of the square. Old, quiet, and filled with forgotten stories. The sign above the door read, "Samuel's Keepsakes." Inside, the air smelled of dust, leather, and time. Shelves groaned under the weight of relics. Behind the counter sat a man with kind, thoughtful eyes, polishing an old clock. "Looking for something special?" he asked. Liam hesitated, then placed both coins on the counter. "I think these belong to my father." Samuel lifted one coin gently, examined its edge through a magnifier. "This isn't just old," he murmured. "This was made by hand, by someone who loved his craft." His fingers traced the mountain engraving, and a faint smile appeared. "Your father was Elias Hart, wasn't he?" Liam's eyes widened. "You knew him?" The old man nodded. "He came here years ago, asking about metals that last longer than words. I told him stories of craftsmen who hid messages in their work, so their children could one day read what they couldn't say." Samuel set the coin down carefully. "Seems your father listened." Samuel walked to a shelf and pulled down a dusty ledger. "He recorded his visits here," he said, flipping through brittle pages until he stopped on one. There it was. "Elias Hart, commission, 2 coins. Purpose, legacy." Liam's breath caught. Samuel smiled softly. "A nord was nord first. Do you teach?" Samuel smiled softly. "He told me he wasn't rich, but he wanted to leave his son something that couldn't be stolen or spent, something he'd have to earn by understanding." Liam stared at the page, tears burning behind his eyes. "He really thought that far ahead," he whispered. Samuel nodded. "Love always does." Samuel turned toward Liam and said softly, "You know, your father used to talk about you. Said you'd learn the meaning of value one day, not from gold, but from giving." Liam couldn't hold back the emotion anymore. All his anger, confusion, and loneliness melted into silent tears. "He never told me," Liam whispered. "He didn't have to." Samuel replied, "Some love is quieter than words. It waits for the right moment to be heard." The shop fell silent again. Just the ticking of clocks, marking time between 2 generations, bound by love. Before leaving, Samuel handed Liam a small box wrapped in faded paper. "Your father left this with me," he said. "He told me to give it to you when you came looking, not for money, but for meaning." Liam opened the box. Inside was a small wooden carving of 2 hands holding a coin, with words etched underneath. "The measure of a man is not in what he keeps, but what he gives." Liam held it close, his heart aching and healing at once. As he stepped outside, the sunlight broke through the clouds. Warm and forgiving, he finally smiled. That night, Liam couldn't sleep. Samuel's words replayed in his mind. He wanted you to earn by understanding. The carving, the coins, the message, they were all parts of something bigger. He placed both coins on the table, studying their edges under lamplight. Then he noticed something he hadn't before: faint grooves on the sides, matching perfectly when aligned. He pressed them together, and a soft click echoed through the room. The coins had joined to become one. Inside, beneath the seam, a tiny folded strip of metal slid free, engraved with a single line: "When you give, you live." His breath caught as tears welled up. His father's final message wasn't about money. It was about purpose. Liam stared at the words for a long time. "When you give, you live." He whispered them aloud, and the room seemed to breathe. Memories of his father came rushing back. How Elias shared food with neighbors even when they had none. How he fixed the church roof for free. How he worked until his hands bled just to pay for Liam's schooling. Every sacrifice he had once taken for granted now burned bright with meaning. The coin wasn't a test. It was a mirror, showing the kind of man his father hoped he'd become. He took the strip of metal outside, standing under the stars. The mountain air felt alive again. "You gave me everything, didn't you?" he whispered to the night. The wind rustled through the pines like an answer carried from beyond. Liam smiled through tears, feeling peace for the first time in years. He understood now. His father had left him a legacy, not of wealth, but of wisdom. The coin had been a key to unlock his heart. And now that it was open, he knew what he had to do. Carry that message forward, one act of kindness at a time. At dawn, Liam packed a small bag again, but this time not to leave in search of something. This time, to give back. He carried the coins and the carving to town, stopping at the homes of old neighbors, offering help, repairs, and food, just as his father once did. For every good deed, he rubbed the coin between his fingers, feeling his father's presence there. Each act made the engraving glow faintly in sunlight, as if the metal remembered kindness. The mountain breeze whispered around him, and for the first time, Liam felt like he truly lived. As evening fell, Liam stood by the river, the same place he once doubted everything. He held the coin up to the light one last time. "You were right, Father," he whispered. "Value isn't found, it's lived." He placed the coin gently on a flat stone beside the water, letting the current's reflection dance across it. Then he smiled. A real smile this time. He didn't need answers anymore. The message was clear, simple, eternal. Giving was the truest inheritance of all. The next morning, Liam returned to Samuel's shop, the two coins still bound together. He wanted to know how his father had made them. Samuel welcomed him with a slow smile and led him to the back room, a small workshop filled with old tools and furnaces long gone cold. "Your father spent nights here," Samuel said softly. "He melted down everything he owned. Rings, tools, even your mother's locket. To make those coins." Liam froze. His chest tightened. "He gave up everything. For this," Samuel nodded. He said, "Love isn't what you leave behind. It's what you turn into something that lasts." Liam's eyes filled as he ran his thumb across the metal that once held his family's history. Samuel handed him an old notebook covered in burn marks. "He left this too," he said. Liam opened it carefully. Inside were hand-drawn sketches of the coins, notes about metal temperatures, and words scrawled in Elias's rough handwriting. For Liam. "May this coin teach what I never could say." Beneath it, a short passage read, "When I'm gone, let him know this wasn't made of silver but of sacrifice." Liam's tears fell onto the page, blurring the ink. He whispered, "He gave everything, just so I could understand love." Samuel placed a gentle hand on his shoulder. "He always believed you would." That night, Liam sat alone by the cold forge, staring into the empty furnace. He imagined his father here, working through pain, forging love out of loss. The image burned in his mind. Elias melting down his last possessions to create something eternal. Liam picked up a hammer and gently struck the anvil, just to hear the echo. It rang through the room like a heartbeat. He closed his eyes and whispered, "I hear you now, Dad." In that sound he felt connected, not to the man who was gone, but to the love that had never left. He returned home at dawn, the coins clasped in his hand. Sitting at his father's old table, he whispered, "You gave me everything I needed, even when I didn't see it." He placed one coin beside his mother's photograph, then slipped the other back into his pocket. This one was his to carry, to live by, and to pass on someday. The cabin felt different now, no longer a place of loss, but of peace. The sun poured through the window, lighting the dust in gold. Liam smiled faintly. "When you give, you live," he said aloud. And for the first time, it didn't feel like a message. It felt like truth. Later that evening, Liam hiked to the hill overlooking the valley where he and his father once worked. He sat quietly, holding the coin to the fading light. The sky turned shades of orange and purple as he whispered, "You gave your world so I could find mine." The wind carried through the grass, brushing against him like a father's hand. He smiled through tears, no longer mourning but thankful. The coin wasn't a gift to keep. It was a story to live, a reminder that love, when given, never truly dies. Years passed. The mountain seasons changed as they always had. Snow to spring, rain to gold. Liam stayed in his father's town, becoming what Elias once was, a quiet helper, a man who gave more than he kept. The townsfolk came to know him as the one who fixed, built, and never asked for anything. One morning, a small boy came to his door, holding a broken toy and teary eyes. Liam smiled, knelt, and mended it. When the boy reached for his pocket to pay, Liam pressed the silver coin into his palm instead. "No payment," he said softly. "Just remember, when you give, you live." The boy ran off smiling, and Liam watched him disappear down the path. He turned toward the graveyard in the distance, drawn by an unseen pull. Carrying the second coin, he walked through the pine forest to where the earth met memory. The wind carried the scent of pine and old rain. He knelt before his father's gravestone, brushing away the leaves. "You were right," he whispered. "I understand now." He placed the last coin at the base of the stone. "You didn't leave me nothing, Father. You left me everything." He stayed there for a while, listening to the wind move through the trees like his father's voice whispering in the leaves. "I hear you," Liam said softly, "and I'll keep giving as you did." The wind seemed to rise, carrying warmth through the cold mountain air. For the first time, the silence around him wasn't empty. It was full of love, of memory, of presence. Liam smiled faintly and closed his eyes, feeling the world at peace again. Later that day, he stood outside the cabin watching the sky shift into evening. The mountains were bathed in soft gold, the same hue as his father's forge flame years ago. Life had come full circle. Liam touched the small carving Samuel once gave him, the two hands holding a coin, and smiled. "You taught me how to live," he murmured. In that moment, he felt his parents near, not as ghosts, but as warmth within him, the same warmth he had passed to the boy. As the night fell, the cabin windows glowed softly. Liam sat by the fire, pen in hand, writing a letter. "To whoever finds this coin one day," he wrote, "know that it isn't worth much in gold, but it's priceless in truth. My father taught me that giving is the only way to keep love alive." He folded the note and placed it beside the coin on the mantel. The firelight danced across his face as he whispered, "And so the story continues." Outside, the wind moved gently through the trees, like a father's laughter, returning home.